I'll do anything. Just don't hurt my brother. 5 desperate words. That was all it took to make Dominic Vale, the most feared man in Chicago's underworld, pause for the first time in 7 years. The November rain fell like bullets on the streets of Chicago. Lily Chen pulled her thin jacket tighter, hurrying home after a 12-hour hospital shift. She never saw them coming. 2 men in black emerged from a dark SUV. Before Lily could scream, a hand clamped over her mouth and strong arms dragged her into the vehicle. "Stop fighting," one said flatly. "Mr. Vale wants to see you." The SUV climbed into the hills where Chicago's elite hid their mansions. The house that emerged was more fortress than home. Gray stone walls, narrow windows, shadows breathing with secrets. Lily was marched inside and pushed through a heavy oak door. The room beyond was dark, lit only by a crackling fireplace. In a leather chair facing the flames sat a figure she could barely see. "Leave us." The men disappeared. Lily stood alone with the monster of Chicago. Dominic Vale didn't turn around. "Do you know why you're here, Miss Chen?" Her mind raced to 3 weeks ago. Her father, Thomas, pale and shaking, kissing her forehead at midnight. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. Take care of Ryan for me." Then he vanished. "Your father borrowed $200,000 from my organization," Dominic continued. "He gambled every cent away. Then he ran." "I don't know where he is," Lily whispered. "I know." Finally, he turned. Firelight caught his face, sharp jawline, dark hair, a faint scar on his left cheek, eyes gray as winter storms, beautiful like a blade, all dangerous edges. "Debts must be paid. Since your father is unavailable, you are now collateral." Lily thought of Ryan, 17, innocent, her baby brother who had no idea their father was a gambling addict. She straightened her spine and did something no one had done to Dominic Vale in 7 years. She looked him directly in the eyes. "I'll do anything. Just don't hurt my brother." Dominic went still. In his world, people begged, cried, bargained, but this girl stood without tears, without pleading, only determination, only fire. When was the last time someone looked at him without fear? He couldn't remember. Something shifted in his chest. Curiosity, perhaps even respect. "Anything?" he repeated. "Anything. As long as Ryan stays safe." Dominic leaned back, a ghost of a smile at the corner of his lips. This girl had no idea what she had just agreed to. "Very well, Miss Chen. I believe we can come to an arrangement." The fire crackled. The rain fell, and 2 strangers stood at the edge of an abyss, neither knowing the other held the key to their salvation or their destruction. Dominic didn't speak. He simply watched her, those storm-gray eyes dissecting every inch of her face, searching for cracks in her armor. Finally, he rose from his chair. He moved with the grace of a panther, stepping into the firelight. Now Lily could see him fully. Tall, broad shoulders beneath a tailored black suit, sharp cheekbones, that faint scar on his left cheek, beautiful and terrifying. "Sit," he commanded. Lily obeyed, her legs grateful for relief. "You're a medical student, top of your class, supporting your brother since you were 16. He paused. "You've been carrying your family alone for years." He had investigated her. Of course he had. "What do you want from me?" Lily asked. Dominic returned to his chair, swirling his whiskey. "There is a woman, Elena Rossi. She raised me after my parents were killed when I was 8. She loved me when no one else would." Lily listened, confused by this sudden vulnerability. "Elena is dying. Stage 4 cancer. 3 months, perhaps less." Something flickered across his face. "Pain. Quickly suppressed. Her only wish is to see me happy, with someone who loves me." The pieces clicked into place. Cold dread crept up Lily's spine. "I don't have time for real love," Dominic continued, "but I can buy someone to pretend." "You want me to be your fake girlfriend," Lily said flatly, "for 3 months, until Elena passes. In exchange, your father's debt disappears, your brother's college tuition paid in full, $200,000, Ryan's future, all for a lie. I'm a medical student, not an actress. Then you will learn. And if I refuse?" The room turned cold. "Then your brother will never see a university, your medical career ends, and your father's debt falls on you, with interest." His voice was calm, almost gentle. That made it worse. Ryan's face flashed in her mind. 17, brilliant, innocent. What was 3 more months? "Fine," Lily said, the word tasting like ash. "I'll do it. Wise choice. But understand this." She stood, voice steady. "I'm doing this for my brother. When 3 months are over, I walk away. Forever." Dominic rose, towering over her. For a long moment, they stood face to face. Then he extended his hand. "We have a deal." Lily took it, knowing there was no turning back. "Welcome to my world, Miss Chen." She pulled away, heart pounding, making a silent vow. She would survive this, save her brother, and never let this man control her soul. Morning light filtered through heavy curtains as Lily woke in an unfamiliar bed. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then the memories crashed back. The rain, the men, Dominic Vale. A knock at the door made her jump. Miss Chen. A deep voice, but not Dominic's. "Mr. Vale expects you downstairs in 30 minutes. Lily found clothes laid out on a chair. Simple but expensive. Someone had planned this. Downstairs, a man waited in the foyer. Mid-40s, salt and pepper hair, built like a former soldier. His eyes were sharp but not unkind. "I'm Victor," he said. "Mr. Vale's right hand. I'll show you to your room." "This isn't my room?" "That was the guest room. Your room is in the east wing, closer to Mr. Vale's quarters." Of course it was. Victor led her through marble corridors until they stopped before double doors. Inside was a bedroom larger than Lily's entire apartment, king-size bed with silk sheets, private bathroom with a marble tub, walk-in closet already filled with designer clothes. A gilded cage, Lily thought. Still a cage. "Mr. Vale will see you in his study at 10, Victor said, then disappeared. At exactly 10 o'clock, Lily entered the study. Dominic sat behind a mahogany desk, morning light revealing what firelight had hidden, the sharp angles of his face, the coldness in his gray eyes. He gestured to a leather folder on the desk. The contract. Lily opened it, scanning the typed pages. Her stomach tightened with each clause. "Rule 1, Dominic said. You live here. No leaving without escort. I'm a prisoner. You're protected. There's a difference." His tone left no room for argument. "Rule 2. You attend all events as my girlfriend. Galas, dinners, meetings. You smile, you charm, you convince." Lily turned the page. "Rule 3. Our story is scripted. Where we met, how long we've dated, everything. You memorize it perfectly. And Rule 4? No one knows the truth. Not your friends, not your brother." Lily's hand froze. "Ryan has nothing to do with this." "Exactly. Keep it that way." She forced herself to continue reading. Then she reached the final clause and her breath caught. "Rule 5, Dominic said, his voice dropping. "No real feelings. This is business, Miss Chen. The moment it becomes anything else, the deal is void." He held her gaze, something unreadable flickering in his eyes. "Understood?" Lily closed the folder. "I have a condition of my own." Dominic raised an eyebrow. "I continue my studies. I go to the hospital for my rotations. I don't disappear from my life completely." Silence stretched between them. Lily's heart pounded, certain he would refuse. "Fine," Dominic said finally. "Victor will accompany you." Discreetly, a small victory. Lily took it. That afternoon, Victor drove her to Michigan Avenue, designer boutiques, personal shoppers, clothes that cost more than her yearly tuition. Lily felt like a doll being dressed for display. In the car back, Victor handed her a folder. "Your background story. Memorize it by tomorrow." Lily opened it, typed pages detailing a fictional romance. They met at a coffee shop downtown. Lily, rushing between classes, accidentally spilled her latte on Dominic's suit. Instead of anger, he found her clumsiness charming. He asked for her number. She refused. He kept coming back until she said yes. A fairy tale. A beautiful lie. That night, Lily lay in her silk-sheeted prison, staring at the ceiling. Sleep wouldn't come. Then she heard it, Dominic's voice, drifting from the hallway. Soft, almost tender. She crept to her door, pressing her ear against the wood. "I know, Elena. I'm sorry I haven't visited." A pause. "Yes, she's real. Her name is Lily." Another pause. Longer this time. "I'll bring her tomorrow. I promise." His voice carried something Lily hadn't heard before. Warmth. Vulnerability. "Love. Rest well. Elena. I'll see you soon." Footsteps faded down the corridor. Lily stood frozen, heart aching with unexpected emotion. The monster of Chicago had a weakness after all. And tomorrow, she would meet her. The next morning, Dominic's black Mercedes pulled away from the mansion, heading not toward the city, but away from it. Lily watched Chicago's skyline shrink in the mirror. No bodyguards followed, no convoy of black SUVs, just Dominic behind the wheel and silence between them. "Where are we going?" she finally asked. "To meet Elena." The suburbs gave way to countryside. Farmland stretched in every direction, golden with late autumn harvest. So different from the concrete jungle Lily knew. After an hour, Dominic turned onto a quiet lane lined with maple trees. At its end sat a small cottage, white with blue shutters, a garden of fading flowers at the front. This was where Chicago's most feared man had grown up. Dominic parked and sat motionless for a moment. Lily noticed something strange. His hands gripped the steering wheel tightly. His jaw was clenched. He was nervous. Before Lily could speak, the cottage door opened. A woman appeared, frail and thin, leaning on a wooden cane. Her hair was silver, her skin pale and papery. But her eyes were bright as summer, warm as hearth fire. Dominic, her voice cracked with joy. And then Lily witnessed something impossible. Dominic Vale smiled, not the cold, calculating curve she had seen before. A real smile, soft and boyish, transforming his face completely. He crossed the yard in 3 strides and wrapped his arms around the tiny woman with a gentleness Lily didn't know he possessed. "Careful, you'll break me," Elena laughed, patting his back. "Never." They held each other for a long moment. Lily stood by the car, feeling like an intruder in something sacred. Then Elena's eyes found her. "So this is your Lily." Dominic stepped aside, and Elena approached slowly. Up close, Lily could see the signs of illness, the yellowish tint to her skin, the tremor in her hands, the way each breath seemed to cost her. But those eyes held nothing but warmth. Elena took Lily's hands in her own, her grip surprisingly firm. "Thank you," she whispered, "for loving my stubborn boy." Guilt stabbed through Lily's chest like a knife. Elena, Come inside, child." I made tea. The cottage was small but immaculate. Photographs covered every wall. Dominic as a boy, gap-toothed and grinning. Dominic as a teenager, sullen but handsome. And always Elena beside him, her smile unchanging through the years. They sat in a tiny living room. Elena insisted Lily take the comfortable chair while she settled on the worn sofa, Dominic beside her. "He was 8 when they brought him to me," Elena said, her eyes distant with memory. "Skinny little thing, all bruises and broken bones. His parents had been killed in the gang wars. No one wanted him." Dominic stared at his hands. "But I saw something in those gray eyes. Fire, strength." Elena smiled sadly. "I told him he was safe now. He didn't believe me for 3 years." Lily glanced at Dominic. His face was stone, but a muscle twitched in his jaw. "He built walls around his heart," Elena continued. "Never let anyone close. Not friends, not lovers, not anyone." She reached over and squeezed Lily's hand. "Until you." The guilt twisted deeper. This woman was dying, clinging to a beautiful lie as her final comfort. "Elena," Lily started, but the old woman shook her head. "I know my boy, child. He hides everything from the world. But the way he looks at you when you're not watching." She smiled. "That can't be faked." The afternoon passed too quickly. Elena told stories. Dominic listened quietly. Lily laughed at tales of a young Dominic burning cookies and falling from trees. Finally, it was time to leave. At the door, Elena pulled Lily into a fragile embrace. "Take care of my son," she whispered against Lily's ear. "He's lonelier than he shows. He needs someone to remind him he's human." Lily couldn't speak. She only nodded. The drive back began in silence. Miles of farmland rolled past before Lily found her voice. "Why don't you tell her the truth?" Dominic's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Why let her believe a lie? Still nothing. She deserves to know. Dominic's knuckles turned white. His jaw clenched so hard Lily heard his teeth grind. But he never answered. And somehow, his silence said everything. 2 weeks passed. Lily began to learn the rhythms of the mansion. Breakfast at 7, Victor driving her to the hospital by 8, home by 7 in the evening, dinner alone in her room, unless Dominic required her presence for some event. But it was the quiet moments that surprised her most. She noticed things, small things that didn't fit the monster she had imagined. Every night, Dominic sat in the library until past midnight, not counting money or planning crimes. Reading, philosophy, mostly, Nietzsche, Camus, Marcus Aurelius. His copies were worn, pages dog-eared and marked with notes. One morning, she overheard Victor on the phone. "Yes, the donation is anonymous," Mr. Vale insists. "The Children's Wing renovation at Street Mary's should proceed immediately." Another day, she walked past his study and heard raised voices. A man begging for more time on a debt. Lily braced for cruelty, for threats. Instead, Dominic's voice came cold but measured. 2 more weeks, but only because you have a daughter to feed." He was still dangerous, Still a criminal, but perhaps not entirely the monster she had believed. One night, sleep refused to come. Lily stared at her ceiling for hours, thoughts spiraling. Elena's face. Ryan's voice on their last phone call. The weight of lies pressing on her chest. Finally, she gave up and crept downstairs for water. The kitchen was dark, but as she passed the living room, she stopped. Dominic sat alone by the window. No fire tonight, just moonlight casting silver shadows across his profile. A glass of whiskey rested in his hand, untouched. He looked tired, not physically, but bone deep, soul deep. "Why aren't you sleeping?" His voice made her jump. He hadn't turned around. "I could ask you the same thing," Lily replied. Silence. Then, unexpectedly, he gestured to the chair across from him. Lily hesitated. This wasn't part of their arrangement. Midnight conversations weren't in the contract, but something pulled her forward. She sat. For a long moment, neither spoke. The clock ticked. The city glittered beyond the window, a million lights from a million lives. "Do you ever wonder," Dominic said quietly, "what you might have been, if life had gone differently?" The question caught Lily off guard. So human, so vulnerable. "Every day," she admitted. "What would you have been?" "A doctor with a normal practice. A sister who didn't have to sacrifice everything." She paused. "A daughter with 2 parents who stayed." Dominic finally looked at her. In the moonlight, his gray eyes seemed softer, less like storms, more like morning mist. "Your mother," he said. "What happened?" The question should have felt invasive. Instead, it felt like an offering, a door opening. "Cancer," Lily whispered. "I was 16. Ryan was 10. Dad was already drinking, gambling. When she died, he fell apart completely." She hadn't spoken about this in years. The words came like water through a cracked dam. "I dropped out of activities, got 2 jobs, made sure Ryan had food, did homework, stayed in school." Her voice cracked. "I became the parent, at 16. Dominic listened without interrupting. No pity in his eyes. Only understanding. "Elena once told me something," he said when she finished. "She said the strongest people aren't those who never break. They're the ones who break and rebuild themselves anyway." Lily looked at him. Really looked. For the first time since that rainy night. "We're more alike than you think, Lily Chen." His voice was barely above a whisper. Both carrying families that couldn't carry themselves. Both building walls to survive. The use of her first name startled her. "No, Miss Chen. Just Lily." "Maybe," she said softly. They sat in silence until the first gray light touched the horizon. No more words. None needed. When Lily finally returned to her room, she paused at the door. Something had shifted tonight. Some wall had cracked, just slightly. For the first time, she hadn't seen Dominic Vale, the mafia boss. She had seen Dominic, just Dominic, a man as lonely and broken as herself. 3 days after their midnight conversation, the devil walked through the front door. Lily was reading in the library when she heard voices in the foyer. One was Victor's, tense and clipped. The other was unfamiliar, smooth as silk, sharp as broken glass. She stepped into the hallway and froze. The man standing in the entrance could have been Dominic's reflection in a warped mirror. Same dark hair, same tall frame. But where Dominic was cold steel, this man was poison wrapped in charm. His smile was too wide, his eyes too bright. Something rotten lurked beneath the polished surface. Well. Those predatory eyes found Lily immediately. "So the rumors are true. My brother finally found someone foolish enough to warm his bed. Marcus." Victor's voice carried a warning. "Marcus Vale." Lily remembered the name from whispered conversations between household staff. Dominic's younger brother, 32 years old, ambitious, dangerous. "You must be the famous Lily Chen." Marcus approached, each step deliberate. "Medical student, correct? Fascinating career choice for someone dating a man who breaks bones for a living." Lily stood her ground. "And you must be the brother Dominic never mentions." Something flickered in Marcus's eyes. Anger, quickly masked. "Clever girl?" He circled her slowly, like a shark testing prey. "But cleverness won't protect you here. This world eats clever girls alive. I can take care of myself." Marcus laughed. "Cold and empty. Can you?" He leaned closer, voice dropping to a whisper. "Little girl, I don't know what game you're playing, but whatever my brother promised you, it isn't worth it." His breath was hot against her ear. "Be careful. Dominic destroys everything he touches. Everyone he loves ends up in the ground. Step away from her." Dominic's voice cut through the air like a blade. He stood at the top of the stairs, fury radiating from every line of his body. In 3 seconds, He was between Lily and Marcus, a human wall of barely controlled violence. Brother. Marcus smiled, unruffled. I was simply introducing myself to your lovely companion. You're not welcome here. This is family business, Dominic. I have every right to be involved. You have nothing. Dominic's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. I built this empire while you gambled and whored your way through Europe. You want control? Earn it. The brothers stared at each other. Lily could feel the hatred crackling between them like electricity before a storm. Finally, Marcus stepped back. This isn't over. He straightened his jacket, smile still in place. Enjoy your little romance while it lasts. We both know how your love stories end. He walked out without looking back. The moment the door closed, Dominic turned to Lily. His face was pale, eyes burning. Did he hurt you? No, just talked. Listen to me carefully. He gripped her shoulders, intensity pouring from his gaze. Never be alone with him. Never. Do you understand? Lily nodded, shaken by the fear she saw beneath his anger. Dominic released her and walked away without another word. That evening, Victor found Lily in the garden. You should know the truth, he said quietly, standing beside her. About Marcus. Tell me. Victor stared at the horizon. 7 years ago, Dominic was engaged. Her name was Isabella, beautiful, kind. She loved him despite everything. Lily's chest tightened. Marcus wanted what Dominic had. The power, the respect. When Dominic refused to share, Marcus found another way to hurt him. What did he do? Victor's jaw clenched. Isabella's car exploded on a Tuesday morning. They ruled it an accident, but everyone knew. Horror crept through Lily's veins. Marcus killed her? He's never been proven guilty. But Dominic knows. And Marcus knows Dominic knows. Victor turned to face her. That's the game they play. And now, Miss Chen, you're a piece on the board. Lily wrapped her arms around herself, suddenly cold despite the mild evening. She had agreed to 3 months of pretending, a simple lie to comfort a dying woman. But this wasn't simple. This was war, and she had just become a target. The red dress felt like armor. Lily stood before the full-length mirror, barely recognizing herself. The gown was silk, deep crimson that hugged her curves before flowing to the floor. Her hair was swept up, exposing her neck. Diamond earrings caught the light with every movement. From Mr. Vale's collection, the stylist had said, clasping a matching necklace around her throat, worth more than most houses. Tonight was the Chicago Children's Hospital Charity Gala, the first public test of their charade. Lily took a breath and descended the stairs. Dominic waited in the foyer, adjusting his cufflinks. Black tuxedo, perfectly tailored, hair swept back. He looked like he'd stepped from a magazine cover. Then he looked up and stopped. His hands froze mid-motion. His lips parted slightly. Those gray eyes traveled from her face to her feet and back again, something shifting in their depths. For a moment, he simply stared. You look. He paused, searching for words. Acceptable. But his voice was rough, and his gaze lingered longer than necessary. The gala was held at the Art Institute, its grand halls transformed into a glittering wonderland. Crystal chandeliers, champagne towers, women in designer gowns and men in $1,000 suits. The moment Dominic and Lily entered, whispers erupted. Is that Dominic Vale? Who is she? I heard she's a medical student. Nobody doesn't wear diamonds like that. Dominic placed his hand on the small of her back, guiding her through the crowd. The touch burned through the silk. Smile, he murmured. You're supposed to be in love. Lily smiled. It felt like cracking glass. They mingled, shook hands, made small talk with politicians, businessmen, socialites. Lily memorized names, remembered details, laughed at jokes that weren't funny. Then Victoria Hayes approached. The city council chairwoman was 60 years old with silver hair and eyes like a hawk. She had destroyed political careers with a single word. Mr. Vale. Her smile was sharp. And this must be the mysterious girlfriend everyone's whispering about. Lily Chen. Lily extended her hand. A pleasure. Victoria's grip was firm. Testing. Medical student, I hear. Impressive. Though I wonder how a young woman balances residency hours with dating Chicago's most controversial businessman. The trap was obvious. Lily felt Dominic tense beside her. With difficulty, Lily replied smoothly. But the best things in life require sacrifice, don't they? I'm sure you understand, chairwoman. Balancing political ambition with family must be equally challenging. Victoria's eyes narrowed. Then, unexpectedly, she laughed. I like her, Dominic. She has teeth. She raised her champagne glass. Don't let this one go. As she walked away, Dominic leaned close. Well done. His breath was warm against her ear. Lily suppressed a shiver. The orchestra began a waltz. Couples drifted to the dance floor. We should dance, Dominic said. People are watching. He led her to the center of the floor. One hand took hers. The other settled on her waist, pulling her close. They began to move. Lily had learned basic ballroom in preparation, but nothing prepared her for this. Dominic's chest against hers, his breath on her neck, the subtle pressure of his fingers guiding her. You're doing well tonight, he murmured. Isn't that what you're paying for? His hand tightened slightly on her waist. You're more than I expected, Lily Chen. The way he said her name sent heat rushing through her veins. Don't get used to it, she whispered back. His lips curved, almost a smile. I was about to say the same to you. The music ended. They stepped apart, but the air between them remained charged. Later, in the car, Lily stared out the window at passing city lights. Her heart was racing. It had been racing since the dance. Not from fear, not from nerves, from something far more dangerous. She glanced at Dominic's profile, sharp and beautiful in the darkness. Rule 5, she reminded herself. No real feelings. But as the city blurred past, Lily realized rules were easier to write than to follow, and she was already beginning to break them. Chicago Memorial Hospital felt like coming home. Lily stepped through the familiar doors, breathing in the antiseptic air she had missed. 2 weeks away felt like 2 years. Her white coat, freshly pressed, hung on her shoulders like a second skin, but everything else had changed. The black Mercedes that dropped her off, the designer bag on her arm, the cashmere sweater beneath her coat, and Victor, sitting in the parking lot, watching. Lily, doctor, Sarah Kim rushed over, her dark ponytail swinging. 28, brilliant, and Lily's closest friend at the hospital. Her eyes swept from Lily's new shoes to the departing Mercedes. What the hell is going on? Lily forced a smile. What do you mean? You disappear for 2 weeks. Barely answer texts. Show up looking like you robbed a Nordstrom. Sarah crossed her arms. And who was driving that car? It's complicated. Uncomplicated. Lily hesitated. The lies tasted bitter on her tongue. I'm seeing someone. He's wealthy, protective. Sarah's eyes narrowed. Lily Chen, you're the worst liar I know. Whatever trouble you're in, you can tell me. I'm fine, really. But Sarah's worried expression said she didn't believe a word. The shift was brutal. 12 hours of chaos. A car accident victim. 2 cardiac cases. A child with pneumonia that made Lily's heart ache. Then the code blue alarm screamed. Room 412. Male, 56. Massive heart attack. Lily ran. The room was pandemonium. Nurses shouting. Monitors screaming. The man on the bed was gray. Lips blue. Chest still. Starting compressions. Lily climbed onto the bed, locking her hands over his sternum. 1, 2, 3, 4. No pulse. Push epinephrine. Lily's arms burned. Sweat dripped down her spine. But she didn't stop. Still no pulse. Charge to 200. Clear. The body jolted. Flatline continued. Again. 300. Clear. Another jolt. Lily held her breath. Beep. 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 We have rhythm. The room exhaled. Lily's legs shook as she climbed down, her entire body trembling with adrenaline. Good work, Chen. The attending physician nodded. You saved his life. Lily leaned against the wall, catching her breath. This was why she became a doctor. This moment. This miracle. No amount of diamonds could compare. That evening, Lily emerged from the hospital into cool night air. Victor's car should have been waiting. Instead, a different figure stood by the entrance. Dominic. He wore a dark coat, hands in pockets, looking impossibly out of place against the hospital's harsh fluorescent lights. What are you doing here? Lily asked. Victor told me what happened. His gray eyes studied her face. You saved a man's life today. That's my job. No. He stepped closer. That's your gift. Something warm flickered in Lily's chest. Walk with me? Dominic asked. They strolled through quiet streets, the city settling into night around them. No bodyguards. No pretense. Just 2 people walking beneath streetlights. Why medicine? Dominic asked. My mother. Lily's voice softened. She was sick for years. We couldn't afford proper treatment. I watched her die slowly, knowing that better care might have saved her. She paused beneath a lamppost. I promised myself I'd become a doctor, help people who couldn't afford help, open a free clinic someday, somewhere poor families could come without worrying about bills. Dominic was silent. Foolish, right? Lily laughed quietly. Free clinics don't pay off student loans. It's not foolish. She looked at him, surprised by the softness in his voice. You want to save people? He said slowly. I've spent my whole life destroying them. Do you know how rare that is? Someone who actually wants to heal? The streetlight cast shadows across his face, but his eyes were bright. You're not what I expected, Lily Chen. Neither are you. They stood there, inches apart, something unspoken humming between them. Then Dominic stepped back. Victor will drive you home. You need rest. He walked away without another word, but Lily saw it. The way he looked back over his shoulder, the way his eyes lingered, like she had shown him something beautiful, something he thought no longer existed in his world. The phone call came at 3 a.m. Lily woke to urgent knocking on her door. Victor's voice, strained and breathless. Miss Chen, it's Elena. She's been taken to the hospital. Lily threw on clothes and ran downstairs. Dominic stood in the foyer, phone pressed to his ear. His face was white as bone. His hand trembled. She had never seen him tremble before. How bad? His voice cracked. Tell me how bad. Whatever the answer was, it made him close his eyes, just for a second. But in that second, Lily saw something shatter behind his expression. We're leaving. Now. The drive to the hospital was silence and speed. Dominic's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. His jaw clenched so tight Lily feared his teeth would crack. She wanted to speak, to comfort, but what words could help a man watching his world collapse? They arrived at Street Mary's in 20 minutes. Dominic was out of the car before it fully stopped, striding through the emergency entrance like a storm. Lily followed, her medical training kicking in automatically. I need to see Elena Rossi, Dominic demanded at the nurse's station. Sir, visiting hours now. The nurse paled and pointed down the hall. Outside Elena's room, a doctor intercepted them. Young, nervous, clearly intimidated by Dominic's presence. Mr. Vale, I'm Dr. Patterson. Your grandmother's condition has deteriorated significantly. The cancer has spread to her liver. We're managing her pain. But what? Dominic's voice was barely human. The doctor swallowed. I think you should prepare yourself. Lily stepped forward, placing a gentle hand on Dominic's arm. Doctor, what are her current vitals? Medications? Treatment plan? Patterson looked relieved to address a colleague. He rattled off numbers and drug names. Lily nodded, translating the medical jargon into simple terms for Dominic. She's stable for now. The pain is controlled, but her body is tired. Dominic, very tired. He looked at her, eyes hollow. Then he pushed through the door. Elena lay in the hospital bed, small and fragile beneath white sheets. Tubes connected her to beeping machines. Her silver hair spread across the pillow like a faded halo, but when her eyes fluttered open and found Dominic, she smiled. My boy, her voice was a whisper. You came. Dominic crossed the room in 2 strides, falling into the chair beside her bed, grasping her thin hand like a drowning man clutching driftwood. Of course I came. I'll always come. Elena's gaze drifted to Lily standing in the doorway. Lily, come here, child. Lily approached, her heart aching. Elena reached out, taking her hand too, joining it with Dominic's. Together, Elena breathed, looking at their intertwined fingers. So beautiful. Seeing you together. Her eyes closed, a peaceful smile on her lips. Stay with him, Lily. He needs you more than he knows. Within minutes, she drifted back to sleep. Dominic didn't move, didn't speak, just held Elena's hand, staring at her face as if memorizing every line. Hours passed. Nurses came and went. The sky outside shifted from black to gray. Lily stayed. She sat beside Dominic in the small waiting room during shift changes, bringing him coffee he didn't drink, watching him wage a silent war against despair. Finally, near dawn, he spoke. I was 8 when my parents died. His voice was hollow. A gang war. Wrong place, wrong time. I watched them bleed out on our kitchen floor. Lily held her breath. I bounced between foster homes, shelters, streets. I learned to fight, to steal, to survive. He paused. I was becoming a monster. Then Elena found me. His voice cracked. She saw something worth saving. I still don't know what. But she took me in, fed me, taught me that I could be more than what the world made me. Tears glistened in his gray eyes. The first Lily had ever seen. She's the only person who loved me for who I am. Not my money, not my power, just me. Without thinking, Lily reached out and took his hand. Dominic looked down at their fingers intertwined. He didn't pull away. Instead, he held on. In that dark hospital corridor, with machines beeping and dawn breaking through dirty windows, 2 broken souls sat together. Not pretending, not performing, just existing, together, in their shared fear of losing the ones they loved. 1 week later, Elena came home. The doctors called it a miracle. Her vitals stabilized. The pain became manageable. She wasn't cured, but she was given more time. Dominic visited every day, and every day, Lily came with him. Not because the contract demanded it, because she couldn't stay away. On Saturday evening, Elena insisted on cooking dinner. A small celebration, she called it. Just family. Lily helped in the tiny kitchen, chopping vegetables while Elena supervised from her chair. The cottage smelled of garlic and rosemary. Soft music played from an old radio. "You've been good for him," Elena said quietly. Lily looked up. "What do you mean, Dominic?" He smiles now. Real smiles, not the masks he shows the world. Elena's eyes twinkled. "That's your doing, child." Guilt stirred in Lily's stomach. The lie felt heavier each day. Dinner was simple. Pasta with homemade sauce, fresh bread, red wine from Elena's small collection. They sat around the wooden table, candles flickering, laughter filling the room. No talk of business, no shadows of the mafia world. Just 3 people sharing a meal. Dominic looked different here. Younger, softer. The hard edges of his face relaxed when he looked at Elena, when he looked at Lily. After dinner, they settled in the living room. Elena in her favorite armchair, wrapped in blankets. Dominic and Lily on the small sofa, close but not touching. "I have a request," Elena said suddenly. Dominic leaned forward. "Anything. Kiss her." Lily's heart stopped. "What?" Dominic asked. Elena smiled, eyes bright with joy. "I want to see you kiss Lily. An old woman's wish. Let me see real love one more time before I go." The room fell silent. The candles flickered. Lily felt Dominic's body tense beside her. They looked at each other. This was part of the act, the performance, just another scene in their elaborate play. So why did Lily's hands tremble? Dominic turned to face her fully. His gray eyes searched hers, asking a question she couldn't quite read. Then slowly, so slowly, he raised his hand to her face. His fingers brushed her cheek. His thumb traced her cheekbone. His touch was gentle, reverent, nothing like the cold businessman she had met weeks ago. "This is just acting," he whispered, so quiet only she could hear. "I know," she breathed back, but her heart was exploding. He leaned closer. She could smell his cologne, feel his breath warm against her lips. The world narrowed to this moment, this inch of space between them. Then he kissed her, soft at first, tentative. "A question," Lily answered. Her hand found his chest. His arm wrapped around her waist, pulling her closer. The kiss deepened, became something hungry and desperate. Fire spread through Lily's veins. Every nerve ending ignited. She forgot Elena, forgot the cottage, forgot everything except the taste of him, the feel of his lips moving against hers. His hand tangled in her hair. She gasped against his mouth. He swallowed the sound, kissing her harder. When they finally broke apart, both were breathless. Lily's lips tingled. Her heart raced. Dominic's eyes were dark, pupils blown wide, his careful control completely shattered. Elena clapped her hands, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Beautiful," she whispered. "Just beautiful." Lily smiled at Elena, but inside she was crumbling. That kiss wasn't acting. That kiss was real. The drive back to the mansion was suffocating silence. Dominic stared at the road. Lily stared out the window. Neither spoke. Neither knew what to say. But both knew the truth. Something had changed in that cottage. Something they couldn't take back. Something neither of them had planned. Rule 5. No real feelings. They had shattered it completely. And as the city lights blurred past, Lily realized there was no returning to what they were before. The line between pretend and reality had disappeared, and she had no idea what came next. Lily began waking at 5 in the morning. She would slip downstairs before Dominic stirred, grab coffee from the kitchen, and disappear to the hospital before the mansion came alive. In the evenings, she returned late, ate dinner in her room, and avoided the common spaces like they were minefields. Because every time she saw Dominic, she remembered the kiss, the taste of him, the heat of his hands, the way her body had melted into his like they were made to fit together. It terrified her. 3 days passed, then 5, then a week. They hadn't spoken more than necessary sentences. "Good morning, good night, Victor will drive you." Lily told herself this was right, this was safe, this was the contract. But her lips still burned with his ghost. Dominic was retreating too. He buried himself in work. Meetings that stretched past midnight, phone calls that never ended. He left before dawn and returned after Lily locked her bedroom door. Victor noticed everything. "You're running," he said one evening, catching Dominic in the study. "From what?" Dominic didn't look up from his papers. "I don't run." "Then what do you call this? You haven't slept in days. You're avoiding her like she's poison. Drop it." "Victor, she's different, isn't she?" Victor pressed. "Not like the others. Not like Isabella." Dominic's pen froze. His jaw tightened. "I said drop it." Victor sighed and left. But the name hung in the air like smoke. Isabella, the woman Marcus had killed, the last person Dominic let himself love. Miles away, in a hospital break room, Lily called Ryan. "Hey, sis." His voice was bright. 17 and still innocent, still untouched by her darkness. "How's Boston treating you?" The lie came easily now. "A medical conference. Extended stay. Everything's fine." "Good," Lily said. "How's school?" "Great. I aced my physics exam." "Oh," and coach said scouts might come to the next game. Lily smiled, her heart aching. "That's amazing, Ryan. I'm so proud of you." A pause. Then Ryan's voice shifted. "Lily, are you okay? You sound different." "Different how? I don't know. Sad, maybe? Distracted?" Lily closed her eyes. Her little brother knew her too well. "I'm fine. Just tired. Long hours. You sure? You'd tell me if something was wrong, right?" "Of course." Another lie. Another stone added to the wall between them. They talked for 10 more minutes. Normal things. Safe things. When Lily hung up, she pressed the phone against her forehead and fought back tears. How had her life become nothing but lies? That night, Lily couldn't sleep. She lay in darkness, staring at the ceiling, when a sound made her blood freeze. Gunshots, from downstairs. Then shouting, glass breaking, more gunfire. Lily threw off her covers, heart pounding. She grabbed the lamp from her nightstand, the only weapon she could find, and ran to her door. The hallway was dark. Emergency lights flickered. Footsteps thundered on stairs. She had to hide, had to run, had to. She collided with something solid. Hands grabbed her arms. She screamed, swinging the lamp blindly. "Lily! Lily, stop! It's me!" Dominic's voice cut through her panic. She froze, gasping. In the dim red light, she saw his face, pale, terrified, but not for himself. "Are you hurt?" He gripped her shoulders, eyes scanning her body. "Did anyone come up here? Are you hurt?" "I'm fine. I'm fine. What's happening?" "Intruders." Victor's handling it. His hands shook against her arms. "I came for you." I had to make sure he stopped, swallowed. They stood inches apart in the dark hallway. Gunfire echoed below, but neither moved. "You came for me," Lily whispered. Dominic's jaw clenched. His eyes, gray and stormy, held hers with an intensity that stole her breath. "I'll always come for you." The words hung between them, heavy, true, and Lily understood. He wasn't just protecting his investment, his contract, his fake girlfriend. He was protecting her, because somewhere along the way, she had become something real. The intruder was dragged into the basement before dawn. Lily wasn't supposed to see. But from the second-floor window, she watched Victor and 2 guards haul a bloodied man through the service entrance. His hands were bound. His face was swollen. He didn't resist. An hour later, Victor emerged with news that made Dominic's face turn to stone. "Marcus sent him," Victor reported. "The plan was reconnaissance, finding weak points, mapping the security." "Why now?" Dominic asked, his voice dangerously quiet. Victor hesitated. He was looking for the girl, specifically. Lily's blood ran cold. "He knows about Lily?" Dominic's words came out like shattered glass. "He knows she matters to you. That makes her valuable." Victor paused. "Or a target." The meeting was held in Dominic's study that afternoon. Lily wasn't invited, but she crept to the door, pressing her ear against the wood, needing to understand what she had stumbled into. Inside, voices rumbled. 12 men, maybe more. The inner circle of Dominic's empire. "Marcus has been recruiting," someone said. "Promising territory. Money. Power. Half the South Side captains have already turned," another added. Then Dominic spoke, and Lily barely recognized his voice. Cold. Ruthless. A blade wrapped in silk. "Find them. Every traitor. Every rat. I want names by midnight." And Marcus himself? Silence stretched. "My brother has made his choice." Dominic's words fell like hammer blows. "When the time comes, he will face the consequences. All of them." Lily stepped back from the door, her heart racing. This was the man she had almost forgotten existed. The mafia boss, the monster who ruled through fear and violence. The Dominic who had dragged her into this nightmare. She had seen his softness with Elena, his vulnerability in the hospital, his gentleness when he kissed her. But this darkness lived inside him too. And it terrified her. That evening, Dominic came to her room. He looked exhausted, shadows beneath his eyes, tension in every muscle, but his expression was resolved. "You need to leave." Lily stared at him. "What?" "Tonight. Victor will take you somewhere safe. Out of Chicago. Out of Marcus's reach." "No." The word surprised them both. "This isn't a negotiation, Lily." His voice hardened. "You heard what happened. Marcus wants to use you against me. If you stay, you die. I signed a contract." "Forget the contract." Dominic stepped closer, his composure cracking. "This isn't about money or debt anymore. Marcus is coming. He will burn everything I have to the ground, and he will start with you. Then protect me." Lily's shout echoed through the room. Dominic froze. "You're the most powerful man in Chicago," Lily continued, her voice shaking. "You have an army, you have resources, and your solution is to send me away? It's the only way to keep you safe." "Safe?" She laughed bitterly. "I was never safe. Not since the night your men dragged me into that car. I accepted that. I've been living in your world, playing your game, lying to everyone I love." She stepped toward him, refusing to back down. "You don't get to throw me away now." Not when she stopped herself. The words too dangerous to speak. "Not when what?" Dominic asked quietly. Lily's chest heaved. Tears burned her eyes. "Instead of pushing me away," she whispered, "protect me, fight for me, let me stay." The silence stretched between them. Dominic stared at her like she had spoken a foreign language. His gray eyes searched her face, confusion and wonder battling across his features. "No one has ever asked me that," he said finally. "Everyone runs. Everyone fears me. But you, I'm not everyone." He reached out slowly, his fingers brushing her cheek. "No," he murmured, "you're not." And in that moment, something shifted again. Another wall crumbled. Another defense fell. Because Lily Chen wasn't running. And Dominic Vale had no idea how to handle someone who chose to stay. The new arrangement began that night. "You'll stay in my room," Dominic said, "until Marcus is dealt with. I need you where I can protect you." Lily's heart stuttered. "Your room? You take the bed. I'll sleep on the sofa." She wanted to argue, but the look in his eyes, fierce and unyielding, told her resistance was futile. Dominic's bedroom was larger than her entire apartment. Dark wood furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, a king-sized bed that could fit 4 people, and in the corner, a leather sofa where the most dangerous man in Chicago would sleep to keep her safe. The first night was awkward. Lily lay rigid beneath silk sheets, hyper-aware of Dominic's presence across the room. She heard him shift, heard his breathing slow, wondered if he was as awake as she was. "Can't sleep?" His voice came through the darkness. "No." Silence. Then, "Neither can I." They talked. At first, surface things. The weather, the hospital, Elena's improving health. But as the hours crept past midnight, the conversation deepened. "Tell me about Isabella," Lily said softly. Dominic was quiet so long she thought he wouldn't answer. "We met when I was 25. She was a teacher, kind, gentle, everything I wasn't." His voice grew rough. "I warned her, told her loving me was dangerous. She didn't listen. What happened? Marcus happened. The name dripped with venom. He wanted what I had, the power, the respect. When I refused to share, he found another way to hurt me." Lily waited. Her car exploded on a Tuesday morning. "I was supposed to be with her, but a meeting ran late." His breath shuddered. "I found pieces of her scattered across the street." Lily pressed her hand against her mouth, horror flooding through her. "After that, I swore I would never let anyone close again. If no one loved me, no one could be used against me." His laugh was hollow. "It worked. For 7 years. Until me," Lily thought. "Until now." The next night, she shared her own ghosts. "My mother's name was Mei Lin." Lily stared at the ceiling. She was beautiful, strong. She worked 3 jobs to keep us fed after Dad started gambling. How did she die? Cancer. Breast cancer. Lily's voice cracked. "We caught it late because we couldn't afford regular checkups. By the time we knew, it had spread everywhere." She wiped her eyes. "I was 16. I held her hand while she died in a county hospital, surrounded by strangers, because we couldn't afford private care. Lily. That's why I became a doctor." She turned her head toward him, so no one would die like my mother did. Alone, poor, forgotten. Dominic said nothing, but in the darkness, she heard him rise from the sofa and move closer. He sat on the edge of the bed, his hand finding hers. He didn't speak, he just held on. It was enough. On the fourth night, the nightmare came. Lily dreamed of her mother, skeletal, gasping, reaching for her with bony fingers. Then the image shifted. Ryan, bound and bleeding. Marcus laughing. Gunfire. Blood. She woke, screaming. Lily, Lily, wake up. Strong arms wrapped around her. Dominic's voice, urgent and warm, cut through the terror. You're safe. It was a dream. Just a dream. She was shaking violently, tears streaming down her cheeks. The nightmare clung to her like cobwebs. Don't leave, she gasped. Please, don't leave me. Dominic hesitated only a second. Then he climbed onto the bed and pulled her against his chest. His arms wrapped around her like armor. His heartbeat, steady and strong, pounded against her ear. I'm here, he murmured into her hair. I'm not going anywhere. You're safe. Lily buried her face in his chest, breathing in his scent. Warmth seeped into her frozen bones. For the first time in 7 years, since her mother's death, since becoming parent and protector and provider, Lily Chen let someone else be strong. She let herself be held, and when sleep finally claimed her again, there were no more nightmares. Only the steady rhythm of Dominic's heart, only safety, only him. Morning light filtered through the curtains. Lily woke slowly, consciousness drifting in like tide. She was warm, comfortable, safe. Then she realized why. Dominic's arm was wrapped around her waist, her back pressed against his chest, their legs intertwined beneath the sheets. His breath, slow and steady, brushed against her neck. She should move, should pull away, should remember the contract, the rules, the walls they had built. She didn't. Instead, she lay still, savoring the warmth of his body, the strength of his arm, the impossible intimacy of waking in someone's embrace. Behind her, Dominic stirred. His arm tightened instinctively, pulling her closer. Then his body went rigid, awareness hitting him like cold water. Lily. His voice was rough with sleep. Yes, neither moved. The moment stretched like honey, sweet and slow. City sounds drifted through the windows. A car horn, distant sirens, the world continuing while they existed outside of time. Finally, Lily turned. They lay face to face, inches apart. Dominic's hair was disheveled. His eyes, soft and unguarded, held none of their usual steel. He looked human, vulnerable, beautiful. I should apologize, he said quietly. For what? For this? For crossing lines? For don't? Lily pressed her finger to his lips. The contact sent electricity through her veins. Don't apologize. Don't analyze. Don't think. Dominic's eyes darkened. Then what should I do? Feel. The word hung between them. Dominic's hand rose to cup her face. His thumb traced her cheekbone, the same gesture from Elena's cottage. But this time, there was no audience, no performance, no excuse. Lily. Her name was a prayer on his lips. I don't know where this is going. Neither do I. I'm dangerous. My life is dangerous. Everyone who gets close to me I know. You could die. Marcus, could I know? Then why? His voice cracked. Why don't you run? Lily placed her hand over his heart. It pounded beneath her palm, racing as fast as her own. Because I've been in danger since the night your men took me. Because my father's choices stole my life long before you did. She held his gaze. At least now I have a reason to stay. What reason? She answered by kissing him. Not the gentle kiss from Elena's cottage. Not a performance for an audience. This kiss was fire and hunger and desperate need. Dominic responded instantly. His hands tangled in her hair. He rolled her onto her back, his body covering hers, his mouth devouring. Lily gasped against his lips. Her fingers gripped his shoulders, pulling him closer, needing more. Then he stopped, his forehead pressed against hers, both panting, both trembling. You understand what this means? He asked. Truly understand? There's no going back. I don't want to go back. I'm a monster, Lily. I've killed people, destroyed lives. I'm everything you should hate, maybe. She cupped his face in her hands. But you're also the man who reads philosophy at midnight, who donates to children's hospitals, who loves Elena more than life itself. Her thumb brushed his scar. You're more than your darkness, Dominic Vale. And I choose to see all of you. Something shattered behind his eyes. The last wall, the final defense. "I don't deserve you," he whispered. "Let me decide what you deserve." For 7 years, Dominic had locked his heart away, sworn never to love, never to risk, never to feel. But this woman, this fierce, stubborn, impossible woman, had torn through every barrier. He kissed her again. This time, there was no stopping, no questions, no doubts, just two broken souls finally finding home. The contract was forgotten, the rules dissolved, pretend became real, and in the morning light of that bedroom, surrounded by danger and darkness and death, Lily Chen and Dominic Vale fell completely, irrevocably in love. 2 weeks of stolen happiness. Lily would remember them forever as the most beautiful days of her life. They fell into a rhythm, natural as breathing. Breakfast together at the kitchen island, Dominic making coffee while Lily scrambled eggs, his driver taking her to the hospital. But now Dominic himself picked her up every evening. Weekends spent cooking elaborate meals, laughing at their failures, kissing between stirs of the sauce. Like a real couple, like a normal life. One Sunday, they visited Elena. The old woman's eyes sparkled when she saw them enter hand in hand. Her health had stabilized remarkably. The doctors called it unexplainable. Elena called it love. "Look at you two," she beamed, squeezing their intertwined fingers. "My heart is so full." Lily no longer felt guilty, because this wasn't pretending anymore. Every smile was real. Every touch was true. Elena saw it too. "The way he looks at you now," she whispered to Lily in the kitchen. "That's not acting, child. That's a man reborn." That evening, Lily introduced Dominic to Ryan. Video call, careful framing, nothing to reveal the mansion or the bodyguards or the world of shadows they inhabited. "So you're the famous boyfriend," Ryan grinned, his 17-year-old enthusiasm infectious. "I was starting to think Lily made you up." Dominic smiled. Actually smiled. "She talks about you constantly. I feel like I know you already." They chatted for 30 minutes. School, basketball, college plans, Ryan's dream of engineering. Dominic listened intently, asked thoughtful questions, treated her brother with genuine respect. After the call ended, Ryan texted immediately. "Holy crap, sis. He looks at you like you're his whole world. You picked a good one." Lily read the message with tears in her eyes. If only Ryan knew the truth. If only he could understand how this impossible love had grown from debt and desperation. Victor noticed the changes too. "You're different," he told Dominic one afternoon, watching his boss review shipping manifests. "Softer, more patient." "Is that a criticism?" "An observation." Victor paused. "Yesterday you let Martinez pay late without consequences. Last month you would have broken his fingers." Dominic set down his pen. "Maybe I'm tired of breaking things. She's changing you. Maybe that's what I need." Victor studied his boss for a long moment. Elena would be proud. The real Elena, not just the version you perform for. Dominic's jaw tightened. "She already knows." "Knows what?" "That I love Lily. Actually love her." He looked out the window. "Elena always could read me better than anyone." But beneath the happiness, shadows gathered. Victor's intelligence reports grew darker each day. Marcus was recruiting aggressively. Old allies were turning. Money was flowing to unknown accounts. Something big was coming. "We should move first," Victor urged. "Strike before he's ready." "Not yet." Dominic shook his head. "I want solid proof. I want to end this permanently." "And if he moves first?" Dominic didn't answer. On the 14th night, they lay in bed together. The city glittered beyond the windows. Lily's head rested on Dominic's chest, rising and falling with his breath. His fingers traced lazy patterns on her bare shoulder. "I have a bad feeling," Lily murmured. "About what?" "I don't know. Something in the air. Like waiting for thunder after lightning." Dominic's arm tightened around her. "Whatever comes," he said slowly, "I need you to know something." Lily raised her head, finding his eyes in the darkness. "I love you." His voice was rough, vulnerable. "Not because of the contract. Not because Elena wanted this. I love you because you saw me, all of me, and didn't run." Tears pricked Lily's eyes. "Dominic, whatever happens tomorrow, or the day after, or years from now, remember this moment." He cupped her face. "Remember that Dominic Vale loved Lily Chen with everything he had. You're scaring me. I'm preparing you." He kissed her forehead. "The storm is coming. I can feel it. But no matter what, I will protect you, even if it costs me everything." Lily buried her face in his neck, holding him tight. Outside, the city slept peacefully. But somewhere in the shadows, Marcus Vale was making his final move, and the storm was closer than either of them knew. The message came at noon. Lily was between patients when her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost ignored it. Then she saw the video preview. Ryan, her baby brother, bound to a chair, duct tape over his mouth, eyes wide with terror, a gun pressed against his temple. Lily's legs gave out. She collapsed against the hospital wall, hand clamped over her mouth to muffle her scream. "Hello, little bird." Marcus's voice, smooth as poison. "Beautiful day, isn't it? Though I imagine it's less beautiful for your brother here." The camera panned to Ryan's face. Tears streamed down his cheeks. A bruise darkened his jaw. "Here are my terms." Marcus's smile filled the screen. "You come to me. Alone. No phones, no trackers, no Dominic. The address will arrive in 60 seconds. And if I tell him..." Lily choked out. Then young Ryan's brains paint the wall. Marcus pressed the gun harder against Ryan's head. "I have men watching my brother's mansion. If Dominic leaves, if police appear, if anything seems wrong, the boy dies." The video ended. Lily couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The hospital corridor spun around her. Ryan, her innocent brother, the boy she had raised, protected, sacrificed everything for. And Dominic, the man she loved, the man who had promised to protect her. She had to choose. 60 seconds later, an address arrived. An abandoned warehouse, South Side, 30 minutes away. Lily's hands shook as she typed her response. "I'm coming. Don't hurt him." She walked to the locker room in a daze, found paper, found a pen, and with tears blurring her vision, she wrote, "Dominic, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. Marcus has Ryan. He'll kill him if you come. You saved me from my father's debt. You showed me love when I thought I'd forgotten how to feel. You gave me the most beautiful weeks of my life. Now it's my turn to save my brother. Don't come after me. Don't risk everything. If something happens to me, please look after Ryan. Get him through college. Give him the life I couldn't. I love you. I love you more than I knew was possible. Whatever happens, that was real. We were real. Forever yours, Lily." She left the letter on his pillow. Then she walked out of the mansion, past the guards, into a taxi, and toward her fate. The warehouse loomed like a corpse against the gray sky. Rusted walls, broken windows, the smell of decay and abandonment. Lily's footsteps echoed as she pushed through the entrance. "You came." Marcus emerged from the shadows, flanked by armed men. His smile was venomous triumph. Behind him, Ryan sat tied to a chair, exactly like the video. Alive, terrified, but alive. "Ryan." Lily lunged forward, but guards grabbed her arms. Touching reunion, Marcus circled her slowly. "You know, I expected you to tell my brother. Run to him crying. Beg him to save you." "I don't need saving." Marcus laughed. "Such fire. I see why Dominic is obsessed." He grabbed her chin, forcing her to meet his eyes. "But you're wrong, little bird. You absolutely need saving. You just chose the wrong way to get it. Let Ryan go. You have me. That's what you wanted. What I want is Dominic destroyed." Marcus released her roughly. "And you're going to help me. He won't come. I told him not to." "Oh, he'll come." Marcus smiled. "That's the beautiful thing about love. It makes people stupid. My brother will walk into this trap because he can't help himself." He nodded to his men. "Tie her up. Put her next to the boy." Rough hands shoved Lily into a chair beside Ryan. Rope bit into her wrists. Her brother's muffled sobs broke her heart. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." Marcus checked his watch. "Now we wait. Dominic Vale will come for his precious Lily." He drew his gun, admiring it in the dim light. "And when he does, I'll kill you both while he watches." His laughter echoed through the empty warehouse. "Then I'll kill him." Dominic found the letter at 4 o'clock. He had come home early, sensing something wrong. The mansion was too quiet. Lily's coat was missing. Her phone sat abandoned on the nightstand. Then he saw the paper on his pillow. His hands trembled as he read, each word carved deeper into his chest. "Don't come after me. I love you. Forever yours." The letter crumpled in his fist. "Victor!" His roar shook the walls. Victor appeared within seconds. "What happened? Marcus has her. He has Ryan." Dominic was already moving, grabbing weapons from his safe. She went alone. She actually went alone. Where? Find out. Now. Track every camera, every contact, every rat in Marcus's network. His voice was ice and fire. "She thinks I'll let her die to save myself." He loaded his gun with savage precision. "She's wrong." Within 30 minutes, Victor had the location, an abandoned warehouse on the south side. Marcus had been using it for months. "It's a trap," Victor warned. "He wants you there. I know. He'll have men everywhere. We'll be outnumbered. I know. Dominic. Victor grabbed his arm. Think. If you die. If I don't go. She dies. Dominic met his eyes. And I'd rather burn in hell than live without her. Victor saw the truth in his gaze. No argument would change his mind. Then we go together. Victor released him. All of us. Every man we have. 20 cars. 40 soldiers. Every weapon in the Vale arsenal. They descended on the warehouse like the wrath of God. Inside, Lily heard the explosions. The walls shook. Gunfire erupted outside. Marcus's men scrambled, shouting orders, grabbing weapons. He came. Marcus's face twisted with rage and triumph. The fool actually came. Lily's heart soared and shattered simultaneously. He came for her. Despite her letter. Despite the danger. He came. Stay here. Marcus snarled at his remaining guards. Kill anyone who enters. The battle raged closer. Glass shattered. Men screamed. The warehouse filled with smoke and chaos. Lily threw herself over Ryan, shielding his body with hers. It's okay, she whispered. It's going to be okay. Bullets tore through the walls. Bodies fell. The guards around them dropped one by one. Then the door exploded. Dominic emerged through the smoke like a demon from hell. His suit was torn. Blood streaked his face. His eyes burned with unholy fury. He shot without hesitation, without mercy, each bullet finding its mark. Within seconds, only Marcus remained standing. The brothers faced each other across the warehouse. Decades of hatred crystallized in this moment. Hello, brother. Marcus pressed his gun against Lily's temple. Drop your weapon, or she dies. Dominic froze. I mean it. Marcus's finger tightened on the trigger. One more step, one more breath I don't like, and her brains paint the floor. Slowly, deliberately, Dominic lowered his gun. Good. Marcus smiled. Now kick it away. The gun clattered across the concrete. Let her go, Dominic said, his voice deadly calm. This is between us. Oh, I don't think so. Watching you suffer is the whole point. Marcus yanked Lily's hair, exposing her throat. Any last words for your lover? Yes. Dominic stepped forward. Take me instead. Marcus laughed. What? Kill me. Let them go. Another step. You want me destroyed? Here I am. Defenseless. Surrendering. Dominic, no! Lily screamed. Shut up! Marcus pressed the gun harder. Stay back. You win, Marcus. Dominic spread his arms. You finally win. Just let her live. For 1 second, Marcus's attention shifted. His eyes flickered to Dominic. His grip on Lily loosened. 1 second was enough. Lily remembered Victor's lessons. The pressure points, the angles, the speed required. She twisted, grabbed Marcus's wrist, and slammed her elbow into his throat. The gun flew from his hand. Marcus stumbled backward, choking, stunned. Dominic moved like lightning. His fist connected with Marcus's jaw. Once, twice, 3 times. Marcus crumpled to the ground, unconscious. The warehouse fell silent. Dominic turned to Lily, his eyes wild, his hands shaking. You came, she whispered. Always. He pulled her into his arms. I will always come for you. Behind them, Victor was already freeing Ryan. The nightmare was over. Marcus Vale was dragged away in chains. The underworld had its own justice system, a council of bosses who governed the shadows. Dominic handed his brother to them without a word. The charges were severe: attempted murder of a boss, kidnapping of civilians, breaking the sacred rules that kept their world from chaos. Marcus would never see daylight again, but Dominic didn't watch him go. His eyes were fixed on Lily, who sat trembling in the back of an ambulance, a paramedic examining a gash on her shoulder. It's superficial, the medic said, but she needs stitches. Take her to St. Mary's, private room, best doctors. Sir, the public hospital is closer, St. Mary's. Dominic's voice left no room for argument. Now. He climbed into the ambulance beside her, gripping her hand the entire ride. Ryan was transported separately. Bruised, traumatized, but alive. Victor personally escorted him, ensuring the boy received every care imaginable. At the hospital, Lily was stitched, cleaned, and settled into a private suite. Flowers appeared within the hour, guards stationed at every entrance. Nothing touched without Dominic's approval. He sat beside her bed, holding her hand, watching her breathe. You should rest, Lily murmured, her voice weak from painkillers. I'll rest when you're home, Dominic. Don't. His grip tightened. Don't tell me to leave. Don't tell me you're fine. Don't ever tell me not to come for you again. Tears glistened in his eyes. The most powerful man in Chicago. crying at her bedside. You could have died, his voice cracked, walking into that warehouse alone, offering yourself to save Ryan. I could have lost you. I couldn't let him hurt my brother. And I can't let anyone hurt you. He slid from the chair onto his knees, pressing his forehead against their joined hands. You're my heart, Lily. Don't you understand? Without you, I'm nothing. Just a monster in an empty mansion. Lily reached down, lifting his chin to meet her eyes. I'm here, she whispered. I'm alive. We both are. Promise me. His voice was desperate. Promise you'll never do that again. Never sacrifice yourself. Never leave me. I promise. He rose and kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips, gentle as morning light. You saved my life, he murmured. Not just today. Every day since you walked into my world. A knock interrupted them. Victor entered, leading a limping Ryan. The boy's face was pale, his arm bandaged, but his eyes were alert. Those eyes went straight to Dominic. So. Ryan's voice was hoarse but steady. You're the mysterious boyfriend. Dominic stood, suddenly uncertain. This wasn't a rival boss or a threatening enemy. This was Lily's brother, the most important person in her life, Ryan. Lily reached for him. Are you okay? I'll live. Ryan limped to her bedside, hugging her carefully. Thanks to him, apparently. He turned back to Dominic, studying the tall, scarred man who had torn through an army to save them. You look dangerous, Ryan said. I am. You killed people tonight. Yes. For her? For both of you. Ryan was silent for a long moment. Then, incredibly, he smiled. Good. He extended his hand. Anyone willing to die for my sister is okay in my book. Dominic shook his hand, something warm flooding his chest. He's the best man I've ever known, Lily said softly. Both of you. My two favorite people. Ryan settled into a chair, exhaustion finally claiming him. Within minutes, he was asleep. Dominic looked at the boy, then at Lily, her brother, her family, now his to protect. This is new for me, he admitted quietly. Family. Lily squeezed his hand. Get used to it, she smiled. You're stuck with us now. And for the first time in 36 years, Dominic Vale understood what it meant to belong. Spring arrived in Chicago like a whispered promise. Cherry blossoms bloomed along Michigan Avenue. The lake sparkled under warming sun, and Elena Rossi, against all medical predictions, was still alive. 3 months past her supposed expiration date, 3 months of defying doctors and death itself. Stubbornness runs in the family, she told Lily with a wink. Where do you think Dominic gets it? They sat in Elena's garden, surrounded by flowers she had planted decades ago. The old woman looked stronger than she had in months, color in her cheeks, light in her eyes. Lily visited twice a week now, sometimes with Dominic, sometimes alone. Their bond had grown beyond the original lie into something real and precious. I need to tell you something, Elena said, her weathered hand covering Lily's. What is it? I knew. Elena's eyes twinkled. From the very beginning, Lily's heart stopped. Knew what? That you two weren't really in love. Not at first. The world tilted. Lily's mouth opened, but no words came. I'm old, child, not stupid. Elena laughed softly. The way Dominic looked at you those first weeks, it was curiosity, interest, maybe attraction, but not love. Elena, I'm so sorry. We never meant to hush. The old woman squeezed her hand. Let me finish. Lily fell silent. I also knew that real love would come. Elena's smile deepened. I saw how he changed around you, how his walls crumbled, how his eyes softened. She patted Lily's cheek. That boy has been frozen since Isabella died. You thawed him. Tears streamed down Lily's face. I'm not angry, Elena continued. I'm grateful. You gave me what I wanted most. Not the performance of love, the reality of it. How long have you known? Since the first dinner. Dominic is many things, but he's a terrible actor. Elena chuckled. His tells haven't changed since he was 8. Lily laughed through her tears. Thank you, she whispered. For accepting me, for loving him, for everything. Thank you for saving my son. Elena pulled her into a fragile embrace. Now go. He's waiting outside, pretending not to worry. Lily found Dominic pacing by the car, checking his phone for the 100th time. What happened? He rushed forward, seeing her tears. What did she say? Are you okay? She knew. Lily laughed and cried simultaneously. She knew everything. From the start, Dominic paled. She knew it was fake. She knew it became real. Lily wrapped her arms around him. She's proud of you, Dominic. She gives us her blessing. He held her tight, burying his face in her hair. "I don't deserve her," he murmured. "You deserve everything." They drove home through blooming streets, but not to the mansion. 3 weeks ago, Dominic had purchased a penthouse downtown. Clean lines, floor-to-ceiling windows, no shadows of his old life. He was transitioning out of the underworld. Slowly, carefully, Victor would take over operations. Dominic would become a silent investor, nothing more. A legitimate businessman, he had told Lily. For you. The penthouse smelled of fresh paint and new beginnings. Lily walked to the windows, gazing at the city spread below, so different from the dark mansion where they had started. So full of light. "Lily." She turned. Dominic stood in the center of the room, and then he did something she never expected. He knelt, one knee on the hardwood floor, a small velvet box in his trembling hands. "Lily Chen." His voice shook. "You walked into my life as a prisoner and became my salvation. You saw the monster and loved the man beneath. You gave me family, hope, and a reason to be better." He opened the box. A diamond ring caught the sunlight, scattering rainbows across the walls. "I was dead before you, just a body going through motions. You brought me back to life." Tears blurred Lily's vision. "Will you stay with me?" "Not for a contract, not for 3 months. Forever?" Lily dropped to her knees, cupping his face in her hands. "Yes," she whispered. 1,000 times yes. He slid the ring onto her finger, and when they kissed, the spring sunlight wrapped around them like a blessing, like a promise, like forever. The wedding was held in Elena's garden on a perfect June morning. No grand cathedral, no hundreds of guests, just the people who mattered most, gathered beneath an arch of white roses. Elena sat in the front row, wrapped in blankets despite the warmth. Her eyes never left Dominic as he waited at the altar, more nervous than he had ever been facing enemies or death. Ryan stood as best man, still amazed that his sister was marrying a man who had once terrified him. Victor stood beside him, stoic as always, but with suspiciously bright eyes. Then Lily appeared, white dress flowing like water, hair crowned with tiny flowers, face radiant with joy. Dominic forgot to breathe. She walked toward him, each step erasing the darkness of his past. When she took his hands, he felt reborn. "I do," he said, voice breaking. "I do," she echoed, tears streaming. They kissed as husband and wife while Elena wept with happiness. "I can go peacefully now," the old woman whispered to Victor. "My boy is finally home." 1 year later, Elena passed away in her sleep. They found her in the morning, face serene. A photograph of young Dominic clutched to her chest. She had simply drifted away, as gentle in death as she had been in life. The funeral was small and beautiful. Lily and Dominic stood before her grave, hands intertwined. Spring flowers surrounded the headstone. Birds sang in the cemetery trees. "She gave me everything," Dominic said quietly. "Saved me when I was broken, loved me when I was unlovable. And in the end, she gave me you." Lily leaned into him, sharing his grief. "She'll always be with us." Then she took his hand and placed it on her stomach. "Always." Dominic froze. His eyes widened. "Lily, are you saying?" "Elena Rossi will live on." Lily smiled through tears. "In our child. In our family. Forever." He pulled her into his arms, crying openly for only the second time in his life. The first had been when Elena died. This time, it was pure joy. Summer brought another unexpected visitor. Thomas Chen appeared at their door, aged and broken. Years of guilt had hollowed him out. "I don't deserve forgiveness," he said, unable to meet Lily's eyes. "I destroyed our family, abandoned you and Ryan, caused all of this." Lily looked at the man who had once been her hero, before gambling consumed him, before weakness won. "I forgive you," she said finally. "But forgiveness doesn't mean trust. You can be part of our lives, slowly, carefully. If you prove you've changed." Thomas wept with gratitude. It was more than he deserved, more than he had hoped. Autumn brought Ryan's acceptance letter to medical school. "Following your footsteps," he grinned, waving the paper. "Dr. Chen and Dr. Chen, the family practice." Lily hugged him tight, overwhelmed with pride. Her baby brother, all grown up, about to become the doctor she had always dreamed he could be. Winter brought the clinic. A small building in Chicago's poorest neighborhood, renovated with Dominic's money but built on Lily's dream. Free health care for those who couldn't afford it. Hope for families like hers had once been. The sign above the door read, "Elena Rossi, Community Clinic." On opening day, Lily treated her first patient, a 7-year-old girl with a cough, brought by a mother who had been turned away from 3 other hospitals. "Thank you," the mother whispered, tears in her eyes. "No one else would help us. Everyone deserves care," Lily said softly. "Everyone deserves a chance." From the doorway, Dominic watched his wife work. She moved with grace and compassion, treating the little girl as if she were the most important person in the world. This woman who had transformed his life, who had shown him that even monsters could be redeemed. "Thank you," he whispered. Lily looked up, surprised to see him there. "For what?" "For giving me a reason to live." She crossed the room and kissed him gently. "You gave me the same gift." Outside, Chicago bustled with life. Millions of people passing each other daily, never knowing how close salvation might be. But 2 of them had found it. A debt collector and his captive. A monster and his redemption. 2 lonely souls who discovered that love could bloom in the darkest places. Their story began with chains and ended with freedom. Began with lies and ended with truth. Began with a debt of money and ended with a debt of hearts. And so our story ends, dear friends. But every ending is also a beginning. Lily and Dominic taught us that no past is too dark for redemption, that love can find us in the most unexpected places, that family is not always blood, but the people who choose to stand beside us. What can we learn from their journey? That forgiveness heals the one who forgives, that courage means staying when running would be easier, that even the most broken hearts can become whole again. Now I turn to you, dear viewers. How did this story touch your heart? Have you ever found love where you least expected it? Have you ever forgiven someone who hurt you deeply? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one, and your stories inspire us to create more content like this. If this story moved you, please subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss our daily uploads. Like this video and share it with someone who needs to believe in love today. Your support means everything to us. Thank you for being part of our community. Thank you for opening your hearts to Lily and Dominic's journey. We wish you good health, happiness, and peace every single day. May you find your own love story, your own redemption, your own happy ending. Goodbye for now, and we will see you in the next video. Until then, remember, even in the darkest night, love finds a way, forever and always.